problem with road cars is that they change character. They're a little bit like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and when you drive in them how you normally drive them, they're really very linear. If you steer a little bit more, then the car steers a little bit more. But then there suddenly comes a point where they change the rules and the car really changes what it does right under you. And usually that's just at the point where people have got themselves into some tricky situation. So one of the big things that we do with active torque dynamics is that we keep the car behaving as it always did. We chase this property that we call linearity, and it helps the driver focus on the task at hand rather than what the car's doing.
When me come a dance, I tough me tough. Some of them must be ragamuffin and rough. Come a dance, all of me must smash it up. Like a them dynamite, my name must blow up.
The drivers in our World Rally cars are incredibly skilled. One of the things that they recognise is that to get the car to go round the corner on a slippery surface, it needs to have a very big angle. It's very difficult to turn the car to that big angle. So a lot of the tricks that you see them doing, this business of steering one way and back the other and so on, are all to do with getting the angle on the car while keeping it going in a straight line. And it's all because of this fundamental understanding of the difference between turning the car and getting it to go around the corner. But most road drivers are not able to produce that sort of driving at the drop of a hat. So what we're trying to do is put some of the skill of the rally driver into the car to help them out at critical moments. As the car gets faster, it's very, very difficult for the car to retain its stability, and typically because our road systems are quite straight, most drivers are really not very aware of that. When you're faced with some sort of emergency on a motorway or a highway where you have to swerve around something, what people find is that the back of the car moves really quite abruptly, and most people again are really very surprised by that. I'm going to come through this entry gate at 65 miles an hour in 4th gear. Take this path through the cones here. And then I'm going to try and stay within the white lines that are marked on the road there. And we're through this in about 1.5 seconds, so you've really got to be paying attention. And that gives the car really quite a task. The unmodified Subaru is fairly stable. It's a nicely set up car for the road. It's got quite a reasonable amount of what we call yaw damping, so it gets through the first part of the manoeuvre without too much trouble, but it does tend to have a little bit of a wriggle afterwards. We're coming up for the lane change, 65 miles an hour, 4th gear, off the throttle. Here we go, we're in one way and we're back the other way, and oh dear, that's a little bit more difficult than I wanted it to be, really. The next car is a Mitsubishi Evo 7, and I think you'll see the difference there is really quite dramatic. Standard road car this, we're going to go through this chicane, 4th gear, off the throttle, 65 miles an hour. Watch my hands work. Pig, that'll be the gravel then. The third car, the white Impreza with the ATD system, has our ability to turn up the yaw damping, and so I think what you'll see there is that inside the car I'm working much less hard to complete the same manoeuvre. ATD Impreza, 65 miles an hour, through the chicane. Look at that, very, very graceful, very stable indeed. One of the disappointments for me with high-power four-wheel drive cars that as soon as you go near the throttle, then typically they stop responding to the steering wheel. One of the ways that you can fix that problem is you can make the car exciting with the suspension, which is the Mitsubishi solution. When I lift, it oversteers really quite aggressively, so if I flick the car around like that, you can see the back wheel lifting off the ground. We can go one way and then the other, and the car flicks, hold the slide, a little bit of brakes, on the gas. It's kind of great as a toy. But we don't like that because you can't turn it off, and so you can't have a safe car when you need a safe car. I think what we've come up with is a combination of pieces, each of which is precedented, but the arrangement of them is maybe a little bit unusual. If, for example, the car is understeering, then we make it more like a rear-wheel drive car, and if the car is oversteering, we make it more like a front-wheel drive car, so that any application of power by the driver balances the car and keeps it very smooth. ATD is not only about fun and not only about safety. Really, it's an unprecedented combination of the two. It's very, very simple as a mechanical device and breathtakingly effective on the car.